And that'll be Ian Lee, won't it? It'll have turned them all on to all the sort of, the Love Island channels and everything else. I mean, look, I can't have that up there. Look. Not when look at it. It's just appalling. Can we make sure that other presenters do not change from the news channels? I'm sick of coming in here and finding that. Right, Cody Lachey is of course a former prisoner at Strangeways. Now he's a reform campaigner. Cody, give me your thoughts on everything that Boris Johnson has suggested, if you would.
Yeah, for me, it's about winning votes, mate, with the general election in mind, with all this Brexit shenanigans and stuff. Simple fact is, it's the Tory. He's playing into the popularist Tory rhetoric of we are tough on crime. James, let's not forget, it's the Tories that have caused what's happening on our streets with crime, 20,000 less police officers on our streets.
Well, they're putting, that's not the Tories. That is a couple of
that was great,
prime ministers who did that. But, I mean, let's try and look at it a little more objectively, Cody, if we can. Here's the new prime minister. He's going to do something about law and order. He's pledging money. There's always going to be an election. But the people of this country are fed up with the scum who go around committing crimes, and they're not learning their lessons. And we've talked about this before, Cody, but it's getting worse. So what do we do?
I absolutely agree with you. It is shocking, but James, prison creates more problems for society than it solves, first off the bat. Prison doesn't work, right? If something worked, then I'd be all
right. Listen, there are too many people in prison who don't need to be in prison. I would agree with you.
100%.
People who didn't pay their TV licenses and people who, did something else. Yeah. Also, there are people with mental health issues. But, the people who go around mugging, raping, murdering, carrying offensive weapons, these kids in these gangs who think they can do anything. We need to teach these people a lesson. And I don't want them on the streets. I don't want them anywhere near me. So let's lock them away. What's wrong with that?
But the problem with that is, James, is because most of the mainstream society that are on the right side of the tracks, people like yourself and Ash, we want to brutalise prisoners. Brutalising prisoners doesn't aid rehabilitation, nor is it conducive to rehabilitation, nor does it act as a deterrent. All that succeeds in doing, Ash and James, simply demoralising, desensitising, dehumanising, makes you even more disenfranchised than when you enter the prison.
Okay, tell you what we'll do. Put them down. Give them a lethal injection, put them down, get rid of them, because they are no use to society whatsoever. I'm sick of it. I am sick of seeing videos of yobbos riding their bikes through supermarkets, punching old ladies, and then saying, oh, really? It's not my fault, it's society's. It is your fault. You have a choice.
But James, the thing is, these people that are in charge of the government, they're in charge of our prisons. So all we do is lock them up and throw away the key. What society needs to remember, James, is 99% of prisoners, unless serving a whole life tariff, right, are going to be reintroduced into society at some point. It's how we treat them whilst they're behind bars that will dictate and determine how they act upon release. So it's not about being soft on justice. It's about being smarter. You're spending money. Oh, we're buying new scanners. We're buying this. We're buying that. Invest in the prisoners that you're trying to rehabilitate. So going back to what you said, rather than making prisoners out of our students, let's make students out of our prisoners, James.
But most of these kids on the scooters, and they haven't been brutalised in prison. It's because it's such a liberalised society that they're going out driving around supermarkets.
Aristotle himself, Ash, coming back at you, Aristotle himself said all them many centuries ago, poverty is the parent of crime and revolution. More people born into abject poverty, youth services have been cut, frontline policing has been decimated, community police stations are closing down. It's a green light for criminals across the board to commit crime with near impunity, and the police are powerless to stop it.
What would you do?
Crimes are going unsolved, and even do you want the truth? It's beyond repair, mate.
Then lock them away, throw away the key, and don't let them out. Simple.
But James,
simple.
This is the thing. But James, these people, right, so you throw them away, you brutalise them in prison.
You just told me there was nothing you could do about them.
That's solved it. Never let them out. They're never coming out.
If I was in charge of the country, I would try to, this 2.5 billion and this extra 100 million that they've announced and stuff, 2.5 billion sounds like a lot for 20,000 extra police, 10,000 extra prison spaces, right? If you actually break that down, reoffending costs the taxpayer £15 billion a year.
If you reoffend, you'll never get out. How about that?
Right, but then the next breed...
I'm sick of it, Cody. Come on, I'm sick of it. We've had these conversations over the years.
Yes, we have, yeah.
Nothing has changed.
Maybe you get out when if you're 16, you get caught, you get let out when you're 40. And if everyone knows that, every kid knows you could lose your youth. You get out when you're 40, they'll soon...
Right, but... So in that years that they're in prison doesn't work, and then you get the longer they're in.
Well, make prison work.
When they get to 40, they're watched every week, and if they do it, they just get life.
Yeah, but where are you going to get the money to staff all this? Watch them every week. The probation,
got robots now.
The criminal justice system. The fact is, James and Ash, the criminal justice system in this country is as broken as those that are entering it and leaving it. You've got kids going to prison.
Then we need to find something else to do with them. I'm not talking about, and it depends what you call a minor offence, okay? A kid attacking somebody, and even a kid disrespecting an elder, there has got to be some kind of discipline brought back into society. I'm sick of it.
I agree. But James, the thing is, when you was a young man, right, people respected the police, they feared the police. The police used to give you a clap round the ear hole. Unfortunately, James, the tide has changed, and we live in this society now where there is no respect for law and order.
Because there's no brutalism. Like you said, the police used to give you a clip round, and that actually shows that it does work, a bit of brutalism.
You know, we are too soft on a lot of these guys who go into prison who are really hardened criminals. The guys who don't care one way or the other, because you can't do anything to me, you can't keep me here forever. Yeah. Yes, we can.
But James, every government that comes in... Go on.
We stop locking all these people for non-payment of fine. We find a different way to punish them, and maybe they pick up the litter, they do whatever. But the hardened criminals who've raped, who've murdered, who've burgled, they are the people that need to be kept off the streets. And if I find prison officers who are allowing people to smuggle stuff into prison, they should be locked up for a long time as well.
It's the prison officers that are bringing it in, James, amongst other routes as well. It's two prison officers today. I got a story out in my local paper after 3 weeks of trying. 2 officers arrested at my local prison for smuggling contraband and stuff. Where you've got contraband, you've got debt in prison. Where you've got debt, you've got...
then you'll be very, very keen. You'll be keen to know that Boris Johnson has realised that is a problem, and he's going to really look towards sorting it out. He also doesn't want people coming out of prison without somewhere they can live and without some job that they can do.
Well, when this Brexit stuff gets passed, if say we go on a no deal, right, the pound's going to crush, all these manufacturing companies are going to leave, more people are going to be pushed into destitution. Social and economic deprivation has a big part to play in society's problem.
Cody, you're playing to the gallery, mate. Stop it.
No, but it's true, though.
No, it's not true, Cody. Just because you think it doesn't make it true.
I've lived that life, though, so I do know.
You haven't lived that life.
How have I not? I was a career-long criminal, James. I was born in abject poverty. I was a product of my environment, which, by the way, my criminality, I don't blame on that one little bit. I'm responsible for my own actions. But the fact is, all these people that come into power, they spent 70 million doing the same thing last year, James. You're still seeing record levels of assaults, record levels of self-harm.
Yeah, but we haven't actually dealt with it as we should. We've got weak judges, and we have weak magistrates, and we're giving them weak sentences. Now, you say prison doesn't work, but obviously it worked for you.
No, it didn't. No. I saw the effect it was having on my mother, psychologically, emotionally,
then
and
financially. Then it worked on you, and maybe it's about time, perhaps some of these other... I can't really find the words I want to use on these people who have abused, who have hurt, who have been, I don't know why you feel so sorry for them. They are useless pieces of human flotsam and jetsam.
And like I say, James, I'll ask you a straight question to you and Ash. Is prison about rehabilitation or is it about punishment?
Prison is about warehousing failed human beings.
It's about protecting the public.
Who are a danger to the rest of us, and they need to be kept out of existence. If they
we can't rehabilitate some people.
No. Thank you. You can't rehabilitate anyone because rehabilitation is a made-up word. It's a politician's word. And the reality is another problem
as well. So, you see, Cody, all you're doing is looking for an argument, and you have no solutions. So when you've got a solution, I would love to hear it. But in the meantime, let's just keep some of these yobos locked up.
But James, right, the facts are, right, these people that are in control of this country, people like Boris Johnson, right, like I say...
You're becoming a socialist. Stop it. It's not the fault of the people who are in charge. They're democratically voted in.
James, they're the ones that make the decisions, and the problem is...
No,
the criminal is the one that makes the decision.
You made a decision not to be a criminal anymore. If you can do it, other people can do it. If they don't want to do it, then let's keep them out of our way.
But like I say, but then it's prisons churning out violent, angry offenders, and the facts are, it makes the problem worse.
But you went to prison, and you know what you got. Oh, you got to what, 40, and you decided to
35, yeah,
exactly, and that's what happens. Just kids naturally will grow out of it, and so put them in prison till they're 35. That's probably the best way.
Power though, Ash. James, the people that are in control of this country, right, are residing over prisoners that they can't relate to in any which way, and that's the problem.
You're talking rubbish. I'm sorry, Cody.
No, it's true.
No, you're talking rubbish. I mean, the idea is, I'm sorry, you're obviously not meeting the right MPs. There are a lot of MPs who have been into prisons. They've met people. They've lived a fairly poor and difficult existence.
Been into prison as convicts.
I don't know.
MPs have been.
Well, the biggest organised crime group about is those in government. We know that, you know that, but we don't say that, do we, as a society? The fact is, it's a failed society. I agree with you. There's a lot of people... Go on.
We need a solution, and you don't have one.
Oh, no, I do. No, James, if I was in charge of the country, I would pump in money into... I would try to bridge the gaps between the rich and the haves and have-nots, right? I bring up the living wage for everybody, because, like I say, when you're on an estate, you've got no... You might have been kicked out of school because of behavioural problems, and then you want to earn money. And the easy way to do that is go into the drug trade and all these other criminal trades, because crime pays. 100% of something is better than 0% of nothing.
Yeah, well, yeah.
But like I say, improve youth services and stuff. The government should be working with violence. It should be about prevention. We see the offences, James, and we want to punish the offences. How about addressing the root cause of offending and nip it in the bud at source? Time again.
I'm sorry, but the root cause of a lot of these offences is that people are just evil, some of these people. They just don't want to work. They want to get something easy, something quick, something for nothing.
They don't care about
and they don't care about anybody else. So let's treat them the same way. Let's wipe the smile off their face, and let's stop letting them out. I mean, how many of these people have been not even jailed for assaulting a police officer? Yeah. It's ridiculous.
I've done that myself, James, and I was actually jailed for that. And I say that to my shame and to my detriment and stuff. I've done that myself. But when I was first arrested, I was crying and I was petrified of the police. But as time went on, I became anti-authority and anti-establishment. I've now seen the error of my ways, and I now project myself differently and stuff. But the facts are that there are a lot of... It's not a simple black and white fix. There are some of these people in prison, and you'll go mad at this, and I get it. A lot of these people that are offenders... Before they've ever been offenders, they've first been victims. Sexually abused, emotionally abused, sexually abused, grown up in care leavers. We've not had the best starts, and you can't use that as a...
it's not an excuse, I'm sorry.
No, it's not. But it's a contributing factor.
Listen, I understand there are a lot of things that go on in a man or a woman's psyche that make them behave in the way they do. Unfortunately, unless they have a mental illness, they're going to have to be punished, and they're going to have to be kept away because they're a danger to people.
I agree with you, James, but the sad thing is with the system, you've got people getting kicked out. They're going to prison. Say they're going on a small... Say they've... I'm trying to think. Assaulted someone right now. A minor assault, like an actual bodily harm, Section 47, Section 39. They've ended up in prison for, 26 weeks, 6 months, right? They'll end up serving 3, right? In that time, they might lose their accommodation. They pick up, because they can't deal with that, they start to take drugs. They develop a habit.
What would you say, because I'm running out of time, what would you say the answer is to that?
To be honest, James, we need to be closing prisons, make them more smallable, manageable things, and the people that save prison for the people that need to be there for the public's protection, and term prisons that are based solely on rehabilitation, because the punitive measure of prison is losing your liberty and it's creating havoc and mental health services and everything else. It's a long-winded thing.
All right, Cody Lachey, former prisoner, thank you very much indeed. I'd like to know what you think. Call me 0344 499 1000. Johnny Mercer, the Minister for Military Veterans. I'm a fan of Johnny Mercer's, I have to say.